Here are 5 leaked heroes which are going to make a big impact when they release in game later on. Hi everybody, welcome back to our brand new video. I hope you're doing well. It feels good to be back making some Marvel Rivals content, and especially when it comes to these leaked abilities of these characters. Now I'm going to be in this video using data mined leaked information. This is by Miller Ross. Shout out to Miller Ross, links in the description to where this particular source and information comes from. But I'm really excited around these 5 heroes in particular. And yes, I've cherry picked these particular characters based on the fact like their abilities, their builds, and just information parts seem like they'll add something unique or different or fun that is very much important to Marvel fans, of course Overwatch fans, but anybody that likes Marvel Rivals in general. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as well, as we'll be covering leaks, information, important stuff, guides on how to play the game, as well as how to access some of the sign-ups to get into game, whether it's PC or console, which we've done before we did this week. But of course we'll do more as more information becomes available. So right off the bat, let's talk about Black Widow. This is one of the characters I think is going to be very handy for improving your level of aggression and as well keeping enemies just stunned and slowed, which is going to be beneficial for tanks and also escort. Now I'm going to be throwing on screen some footage of just from random games, but also we're going to be referring to the text, links in the description to these leaked abilities. And I really cannot wait for this. This character is going to have this really cool dash in, dash out, and other mechanics are going to be very helpful. Let's get into it. So first of all, we've got line dash. Fire a Widow's line that propels Widow towards a targeted destination. Handy if you then put it with other things, like if you dash in and dash out, you can first of all, or kind of get in there first and foremost, get stuck in, then diving strike. When Edge Dancer is used and Black Widow is aloft, she can activate again to unleash accumulated energy, damaging and stunning nearby enemies, so keep enemies stunned. But you can also fire yourself out of there, so get yourself into danger and get yourself out. You've also got Electroplasma Explosion, shoot a cloud of high energy plasma forward, creating a lingering field that slows and damages enemies caught inside. A charged Electroplasma Explosion deals more damage and covers a large area. So you can really help out your tanks by dipping in, doing a bit of aggression, then dipping out. And that's going to be something I think of a dynamic a lot of players are going to like. Now this is where I think it's called snipers. Now again, if, as I've said in the past, if you're interested in having that bridging gap between Call of Duty and this game, which I'm a Call of Duty and Marvel fan, so this is like why this game has kind of resonated with me with interest, is having that first person element to it. And that FPS is kind of great because then you've got stuff like rifle aim down sights. So we're talking about a range based character that is meant to, as a duelist, I want to say is going to be a duelist, get in and get out of these very difficult situations, these high intensity situations, these supporting tank situations, and just be aggressive, but also be calculated to come back. You know, go in, do your Electroplasma Explosion, and then dip as well. There's also infrared or infra detector. Swap the next bullet for an infra detector, revealing enemy positions in its area for short durations. I can't remember what the term was. I don't think it's Eagle Eye with Call of Duty, but there was something where you're able to see the enemy for a little bit more length of time. It's been a while since I've played Warzone, so I can't remember what it was, but you're able to see somebody like just for going. It's basically wall hacks. It's kind of like that. You kind of get to see revealing enemy positions. Yeah, it's kind of like wall hacks built in, which again is not something necessarily bad, but at the same time this can be very helpful for your strategy and other elements like that. But yeah, that propelling in, propelling yourself out, getting to high distances with Edge Dancer, with having range with electromagnetic rifle. You can have a lot of fun with this, but I think this is going to be a very kind of like dip in, dip out duelist that can do a lot of damage and also support tanks by indeed kind of allowing that slowing down and damaging enemies inside the field, which again is super helpful for things like escort or things where you need to slow down enemy progression in a in a particular type of game mode. The second character we move on to is Moon Knight. Now for a lot of people, and just to explain, the character abilities, these are leaked abilities as of, say, I think it was 2 months ago or a month ago. So these could be subject to change. So if you do see these, they might have changed. These are from the closed alpha data mined. So from this, you've got things like Crescent Darts, Moonblade, that can be thrown, and also Anks. So how Anks play a part in this is going to be super important. But this again looks like one of these characters like range, like sitting behind the tanks, just firing a load of projectiles. There's some interesting stuff there, like Unleash Crescent Darts forward that can bounce between enemies and Anks. Then you've got Launch towards a Moonblade that can bounce between enemies and Anks. Fire an Ank to reveal and stun invisible enemies within range. Again, why I'm referencing this being is an important thing is stun invisible enemies. What is going to be invisible enemies? Is that just enemies you cannot see because they're behind a, I don't know, a wall or something? Or is it stunning actual invisible characters like, you know, Invisible Woman, for example? There's others within the universe that can do, like, be invisible in some shape or form. And I think Invisible Woman is actually going to be a character that comes down the line into the game. So that could be something, you know, beneficial for you. You also got Lunar Chain, launch frontal grappling hook that pulls Moon Knight towards it. Again, dip in, dip out, similar to Black Widow. But there's more, like the Age of Khonshu. Khonshu bombards enemies with its talons and reveals and stuns invisible enemies within range. Again, helpful, but at the same time, and again, is this targeting, say, rogue-based characters? Like World of Warcraft head on my shoulders now, when I used to play that, you know, rogues which appear from nowhere and just absolutely put you into a stun, but you wouldn't know where they were in general. Will this, with Khonshu, be able to do something where he appears? And if he appears, that'd be super cool, because it'll be like having a big avatar or hologram type thing that would be able to attack, which would be very helpful. You've also got to perform a double jump, which again is helpful for you getting height away from everything and being able to, you know, fire down a lot of these Anks and Darts and Moonblades. With the suggested combo on this being that as the avatar of Egyptian god Vengeance, Mark Spector's body has been enhanced. Hold on, I'm reading the wrong thing. Use Crescent Darts. There we go. Use Crescent Darts and Moonblades to chip away at enemies from afar with their ricochet mechanic and unleash Mark of Khonshu in the right spot to boost ricochet efficiency. So that's where I think a lot of the damage comes from. You are kind of a ranged based character. And as I said, I think this is going to be about you sitting yourself behind the tanks and firing in, and then maybe kind of like coming in and then like dipping out in order to kind of like get back to a more area of surveillance. But still, if you're able to have that kind of Mark of Khonshu, Age of Khonshu kind of like rising up and being able to do a bit of damage as like kind of like some kind of big avatar based thing, then that is going to be pretty darn amazing, and one of the reasons that I've kind of chosen this as a character. Of course, now we're going to talk about Thor. Thor is one of these, you know, big characters that we all know about within the universe, and of course he's got to be as powerful. So one of the big things would be like, well, first of all, he's the god of thunder. And I think a lot of us, since watching things like Infinity War, we want to see and we want to utilize throwing Mjolnir to strike enemies and being that as like a cool ranged weapon. Something in Marvel games, you haven't really had the opportunity. Marvel Avengers did give us something, so, you know, respect for them kind of giving us that in the way of being able to have a really decent Thor that you could use, but nothing from a PvP sense. This is where I think things are going to get pretty darn amazing. So after using any ability, casting Mjolnir grants 1 point of Thor Force, which is going to be important to build up. Wield Mjolnir to strike enemies when awakened. Thor can launch lightning arc waves to deal damage, which is important. But of course, Awakening is going to be, good. Awakening rune is right here. So consume Thor Force, because obviously you build Thor Force to enter into the awakened state, granting bonus health and enhancing Mjolnir Bash. Now, I would mention something that maybe this is like, and again, you need bunny ears, hybrid hero, but I know that that's something of people aren't particularly happy when I do say that. But it's difficult, again, to give a representation of what this character is. This is going to be very much on the front foot, because to me, this seems like a duelist. But this is the thing about the Marvel Rivals developers and how they're kind of pitching this like, well, he's granted bonus health and enhanced Mjolnir Bash. So does that necessarily put you on the front foot to be there where the tank position is? Therefore, kind of, oh, you're a vanguard. No, you're a duelist. You should be stepping back. And it's all about you finding what is best for you and how you want to play the character and hero, and how you work with other people to kind of go, look, am I going to just hang back until I get Awakening Rune, get my Thor Force built, then go into Awakened State, then go in, you know, as aggressive with the tanks and have like a double tank kind of, you know, strategy. I don't know, like the game hasn't been, the character's not even out yet. When it's out, we'll be able to kind of like get a bit of an idea, but yeah, it's kind of like giving that impression nevertheless. There's some cool abilities as well, because as Thor, you want to go up and smash down. Well, you can do with God of Thunder. Soar upwards and smite the ground after charging for a duration, inflicting damage on enemies within range. That is very much Infinity War, and I think a lot of people are going to absolutely love it. If they've got an Infinity War based skin of Thor with the it's not really, it's kind of the Stormbreaker axe, then you know, it's not properly Stormbreaker, it's Yamborn, really. Yamborn adapted, but anyway, it is what it is, whatever. Anyway, suggested combo: use hammer throws to deal damage from mid to long range, then seize the opportunity to close in with Storm Surge, unleash Lightning Realm amidst the enemies to restore energy, and activate Awaken Rune to enter an awakened state for a damage burst. There's also some things that are mentioned under Asgard Blessing, which is here, which is when Lightning Realm is cast, lightning will draw in nearby Chronovians to create a barrier encircling the realm that can withstand damage. Now, there are some notes with this. This could be to do with some other event, or it could have some kind of like thing to do with a team deathmatch situation, which I think is really cool. Like, I hope they do a team deathmatch, because that's kind of like more my thing. I'm more interested in that. Now, the smartest man on the planet or the universe, and that is Mr. Fantastic. This, I still don't know how this is going to be pitched, because to me, this seems like a strategist. Well, the others we've talked about so far have been Duelist. This speaks a little bit like strategist, just because there's healing in it. And I don't know if healing means strategist or it doesn't, because again, there's lots of these kind of things that the developer's putting in, which again, hybrid is the talk with it. But will you be playing this as a Duelist, or will you be playing it as a bit more kind of like a hold back and strategist? So skills generate elasticity, boosting power, attack power. Again, that's not too much like strategist, but reaching full elasticity triggers an inflated state that restores health and boosts even more damage, which again, that's great, because on a solo aspect you can play the character quite aggressively, which again is reminiscent of Duelist. But there's other things as well, where you get here, select target to dash forward, them dealing damage to enemies and granting bonus health to allies. Adding bonus health to allies is very much kind of like a strategist type thing, like a priest would be in priest or druid, paladin maybe in stuff like World of Warcraft. But then again, it's like, well, some of the characters have healing. Anyway, whatever. I'm digressing. So distended grip, extend arms forward, entangling an enemy, then press left mouse click to select and yank another enemy. This is why I love this. This is why I wanted to pick this as being a unique character that's coming. Mainly because it's got that element of go and grab. If you've seen my short of Hulk jumping into the air and grabbing Iron Man, this is what I like about Marvel Rivals. It's got that little bit of kind of interaction against enemies, which other games don't, where it's got like the kind of like sticky and grab, and the animations are just on point and better than most other games to have that element of kind of just cool. Hey, he's a rubber man and he's grabbed somebody with his rubbery grip. It's like it's just amazing, and I can't wait for the character really, because there's more. Stretch body to absorb damage before launching stored damage in the target duration, and leap upward and smash the ground, knocking up enemies within upon hitting an enemy, leaping again 6 times. So you got this kind of like very much kind of aggressive type character, but also you can do stuff that is, and seems to be like you want to be taking damage, or at least be in the thick of the fight, like a tank. Again, I won't use the word hybrid, because I know again some people get funny about that. But like the element of how you play a character is going to be very different, and you're going to be adapting a lot. The suggested combos: unleash elastic punches on nearby enemies, ensnare lone enemies with rubber grip, reflect high damage with reflex rubber when under heavy attack, and protect allies or finish off enemies in peril with flexible elongation. So yeah, this is kind of like, it's an odd one, isn't it? Because you're protecting allies, but then you're being very aggressive at the same time. Like, it's a very weird dynamic you have for the character. And a final hero that stands out to me, or villain that stands out to me, that's going to be playable and leaked information based on abilities that have been in the game files, was that the character has this amazing type of drone-based technology that, as it says right here, summon drones to grant bonus health to allies within range, centered on himself and the ally marked by imperative patch. There's also commanding a giant drone to follow an ally, constantly healing allies in its radius with more healing for the designated ally. Now, this is amazing for tanks. If you are, and I assume this will be a strategist, you're trying to support your tanks as much as possible. But imagine if you're supporting them by sending a massive drone to basically just rapid heal them. Obviously heal your allies in general, but like specifically target that tank to be ultimately healing, means that they're able to stay alive a lot longer. And especially, I don't know if you would run double support, I don't know if you can do that, but if you were to, then it would be amazing to have that level of tank is unstoppable. You know, if you've got Groot, no, it's King Groot, Groot, Penny Parker, Hulk, and any other type of, and Venom, any other type of Vanguard tank based character, you're able to really target them to make them just the best they can. It's slightly annoying to see him as a character that is centered around assisting, especially as I know the character, and a lot of us would do, for a very aggressive just destroyer and hijacking tech and making tech like it's adapting it in a certain way that it could make it just really, like, you know, beastly. But from a suggested combo standpoint, cast imperative patch to command a giant drone to follow an ally, makes sense. Offer sustained healing to allies in its radius. Unleash imperative firewall to command micro drones to generate shields to protect allies. That's good as well. Near both self and giant drone in critical moments. Use dynamic flight to swiftly engage or disengage from battlefield as needed. And that's the thing, is that I think this is very much kind of like get in, like the others, get in, do what you need to do, then get out at the same time. You need to stay alive more than, say, tanks do. So being that strategist to kind of do what you need to do, then back off again, is going to be very darn important. And yeah, those have been my 5 heroes and villains combination of leaked based characters. So this is information from abilities that are coming into game that I think that'll be really good to either shake things up or add something that hasn't been seen in game just yet. But if there are any other leaked based heroes, obviously put in the comment section that you would like to see in game, that you think would add something based on what you've seen, or any other character from the Marvel Universe that you think would be good additions to the game, or abilities from other characters you think would be good in game, like Wolverine, for example. Have your say in the comments. Appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.